the late 19th and early 20th centuries, tuberculosis reached epidemic proportions throughout Europe, although the vaccine was created around 1906. It was not properly disseminated until the end of the mid-20th century. This, coupled with a significant improvement in public health conditions, has led to mortality allied to tuberculosis to the present day. But as long as medicine did not evolve and the world watched in astonishment at the spread of this contagious respiratory disease with a greater incidence among the poorer classes, alternatives were needed. Sanitariums were then set up, establishments that reached proportions worthy of genuine arrests and dedicated to the isolation and treatment of the disease. Despite the benefits of the fresh air, 75% of the patients admitted to these sanatoriums died within 5 years, according to data from 1908. It was 1918 and Francisco de Almeida Grandella, on behalf of the Society of Macanvencos, donated 3,500 square meters of land for the construction of a building for the temporary treatment and internship of tuberculosis patients. The sympathetic gesture of the architect Rosendo Carvalheira, who created a grand project for the building, was joined. The whole project is very simple, graceful and picturesque, and strongly inspired by Portuguese motifs, wrote the Portuguese architecture in July 1918. The initial plan provided for rooms for 36 patients on fee boarding, vigilant rooms, a large kitchen, dining room, healing porch, pharmacy, dressing room, storerooms, baths, crematorium, dressing oven, disinfection and isolation ward to help meet the costs of the work. 14 independent houses will also be created, which will also seek to respond to the large housing shortage for those who, although they have the means, need to settle there. In Cabeço de Montachique, the healthy logarithm of the municipality of Loures, the foundation stone was laid for a sanatorium for tuberculosis candidates, a benevolent initiative of the sympathetic Macanvencos Society. The sanatorium will cover the area of 3,500 square meters, including gardens, and will be halfway up the hill at an altitude of 200 meters. Rosendo Carvalheira will not survive to see the foundation stone laid. This party was attended by the aristocracy of the time, which did not prevent that there were some limitations on the financing of the work. Until a few years ago, it was said that near the foundations of the building, a box had been buried where the anonymous pupil would place their simple donations. A very safe, thief-proof safe, a treasure. The project was sold at 5 cents. We prayed that the Albergaria Sanatorium intended to alleviate misery and disease in the midst of the tremendous crisis the world is going through, and appealed to the new rich who have made fabulous fortunes from the profits of the war to donate a small portion of this enormous wealth to the victims of the same war. However, the appeal was answered and soon stopped with construction, the idea having died there. All expectations generated around the project ended up being dashed. Even without the Albergaria Sanatorium, the area continued to be preferred and frequented by infectious patients seeking clean air and better living conditions. The relative abundance of these infrastructures as the region became more populated contradicted their own spirit of creation by increasing the risk of contagion with populations. The last sanatoriums of the region closed in 1971, and the buildings were progressively converted for other purposes: a Ministry of Health, psychiatric recovery center, and a school, for example. Others were abandoned and in ruins. The Albergaria Sanatorium is still standing as it was left almost 100 years ago. And the hidden safe, will it still be there? Owner wants 800,000 euros for the building of the early 20th century located in Cabeço de Montachique in Loures, whose construction was never finished. The deal may have a plus. It is said that there is treasure buried under the ruins.